Margaret Clifford was a 30-year-old math teacher at Northampton High School and active in her community on the Northampton Committee on Public Safety, but she wanted to serve her country on a larger stage. At one meeting of the Northampton Civilian Defense, a neighbor told her some surprising news. The Navy was coming to Northampton. Clifford was shocked because the bodies of water that she associated with Northampton were Paradise Pond and Connecticut River, and neither one of those seemed like a good place for a naval vessel. Hi, I'm Emma, and today we're going to talk about Margaret Clifford. Clifford's interest in the Navy grew as she read more about the preparations for the waves in the Daily Hampshire Gazette. The articles made the Navy seem exciting, and not just for the opportunity to serve, but for the opportunity to join a community of intelligent, sophisticated women. She remembered the Gazette featured the women who were signing up: college presidents, deans, professors, businesswomen. They were all coming to Northampton for their initial training. I wanted to be a part of this new organization. It didn't hurt that her future husband, William Dwyer, had also joined the Navy. Clifford enlisted in 1942. We do not know if she considered this in her choice, but the Waves were also more equitable than some other female military units. They were not an auxiliary, which meant that any woman who joined the Waves would have the same standing as any man who joined a naval reserve. Initially, she thought the Waves might have been interested in her because of her background in math, but she said that the only time she ever used math was when she was a drill and discipline officer at Smith. She joked, "I used my math daily. Hut 2, 3, 4. Clifford remembered that during her time at Smith, the Waves became local celebrities. Everyone they knew wanted to touch their beautiful Mainbacher uniforms and try on their hats. Whenever they would march around town, people would park their cars, get out, and wave and cheer as the Waves went by. Some people, when they knew when the Waves would be marching, would even eat their dinners early so that they could be there. Clifford thought that she had a bit of an advantage over some of the other women because she was one of the tallest in her class. So she would always be in the first row whenever the Waves were marching through the Northampton streets. And people started to recognize her and call out to her. Clifford did not think that it was appropriate to acknowledge these well-wishers with a wave back while she was marching, so she would just wink at the people she knew. Though she lived in Northampton before she joined the Waves, she said that it was during this period that she felt truly embraced by the community. People would say hello to her on the street whenever she went outside, and would invite her over to visit or to have dinner with them and their families, even if they didn't know her. She remembered that this was a really different reception from what she'd gotten even when she was teaching Northampton's children. Clifford was trained in Northampton and then served in New York City. In the Bronx, she was the regimental commander for half of the regiments and supervised a staff of 75 other Waves. After New York, she moved on to a position in the Office of Naval Intelligence in Washington, D.C., where she was promoted to a lieutenant commander. Clifford had a good experience with her service in the Waves. During her time at the Office of Naval Intelligence, she regularly handled top-secret information and met all kinds of celebrities, from the Trumans to Eleanor Roosevelt. After the war, Clifford was demobilized. She was relieved of active service after just under 5 years in the Navy. Though the Waves weren't intended to be a permanent introduction of women to the Navy, and many still considered the work to be only appropriate for men, the Waves had a big impact. Women's military service during World War II was considerable. By 1945, there were 86,000 enlisted Waves and 8,000 officers. In the years following World War II, Waves and former Waves joined the men and women who lobbied for women to join the Navy more permanently. Those who spoke in support of the plan included major military figures who had worked with women during the war. In 1948, President Truman signed the Women's Armed Services Integration Act, which allowed women to join the armed services on a more permanent basis. Margaret Clifford, who later married and became Margaret Dwyer, donated many parts of her Waves uniform to historic Northampton. Most have the label of the Women's Naval Reserve. Some have the label for the Waves specifically. Almost all of the clothes have her personal label sewed into them, with her maiden name, of course. I like talking about Margaret Clifford because of all the ways that she's unique, just like all of our stories are unique. But I also like talking about her because of the ways that she isn't unique. Margaret Clifford joined the Waves because she heard about the impressive community of women who were coming to Northampton. But I think that her career proves that she was an impressive woman who was already in Northampton. Margaret Clifford isn't part of women's history as a feminist icon who has her picture in a textbook, but she is part of women's history as part of a long line of women who saw a chance to have their experience and their voice valued, and to be a part of a world that was usually only open to men, and she took it. We're still struggling with the same issues that Margaret Clifford and all of the Waves struggled with: how to have their time and their service valued equal to that of a man. but every single one of them pushed us forward.